We're here to answer any questions that you have. In the calendar invite, you'll see the agenda and where the slides are, and also a quick video that Dave and I put together with some key highlights. And we'd ask you to have a look through and put any questions that you have in the agenda doc, please. So Sid, looks like you are first up with questions. Could you verbalize?
Yeah, for sure. How many resource groups do we have today, and like how many active ones do we have?
We have, as far as I know, and I'll let Candice jump in here, as far as we know, we've 4 active so far, but are potentially have a few more coming on board.
That is correct. We have 4 with 5 that actually, the 5th one was GitLab Gender Minorities. I'll provide the link in the document for anyone who wants to sign up for all of them. And they're all in the process of planning different events coming up.
Cool. And if someone watches the page in the handbook, which is very comprehensive, is there a way to find out where the groups are and how to sign up from that page?
Yes, absolutely. And so what I'll do is I'll drop it in the document. It has a Google group form. Some of them are in a form, and some of those are in a Google group sign up where they just automatically get the invite. Sorry. And so it's in a couple of different places, but I'll add it to the doc. And I also have it in, I've added it to the onboarding template. So as people are coming on board, they have access to, if they want to join an ERG, find out more about what it is and the guidelines, how to stand up new ones if there isn't one that is already stood up that you feel like you're aligned to.
Yeah, thanks for that. Consider making the ERG page guide in the handbook the single source of truth for how to join. So there you, at the bottom, you add like how to join an existing group, you add that, and then from the onboarding, you link to that. From this agenda, you link to that, so that the handbook is the single source of truth for how to join one.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cool. We had a key meeting. It had great slides. I think that for group conversation would be great to just put the key meeting slides front and center, so people also have that, and you kind of reuse that work, so you don't have to duplicate that. So thanks for dropping the link in the presentation, and next time consider adding it as a slide in the presentation or something.
Got it. Actually, I think it's at the very end, so it's a good call out. We'll bring it up front so it's easier to find.
Okay, sorry that I missed that.
Yeah, no worries. All right, Tim, I think you're next. Could you verbalize your question?
Yeah, sorry, I was gonna try to provide a link. So we've been working on cleaning up the term GitLabber. So from 2017 to 2019, the term GitLabber was really referred to or used only for people being paid by GitLab. In 2019, we made the shift within our handbook to open that up to the broader community. But since then, teams have utilized GitLabber to continue to refer to people being paid by GitLab. Based or per Sid's suggestion, we're trying to lean into opening that term up, but it's brought in a really good conversation regarding 3 tiers of GitLab, the GitLab community. We have the GitLab core team, which is made up of 7 middle-aged white and 1 Asian person, all male. So not diverse at all. We also have the GitLab team members, which is the people being paid by GitLab, so employees, contractors, but it doesn't have a whole lot of warmth to it. And then we have the GitLabbers, which ought to be all of the GitLab community, anyone that uses GitLab or is adjacent to GitLab. But it's kind of brought a few different things to a head in terms of how do we make the GitLab community as a whole be as inclusive as possible and warm as possible, but still providing designations between the core team, the people being paid by GitLab, as well as the broader community. And maybe we might want to look at diversifying that core team.
Yeah, thanks for calling that out. Candidly, I had never really heard the explanation for the difference in the GitLabbers and GitLab team members, and would have in my mind referred to them as the same, not necessarily thinking as GitLabbers being community as well. So I think it does, you're right, it raises a really good point. And I did see some conversations previously about the diversity in the core team member, the core team. So it is something we need to look at. I think it's definitely a good call out, something that we need to take a look at. And happy if anybody else on the team wants to give some input. It's something that I hadn't given thought to before.
Tim, from my understanding, we've used GitLab team members because we have both employees and in certain locations, contractors that are treated as employees. Is that the term you want to change to become more inclusive and warm? So you want to change GitLab team members?
Yeah, and so the perk of utilizing GitLabbers is really nice because it does provide that sense of pride. When the feedback that I received was when we don't allow ourselves to use GitLabbers for people that are just employed, those GitLab team members, it kind of takes away that sense of pride of being an employee, of being, so how do we instill pride in all of those different groups without removing the sense of pride or, creating some sort of division that might remove pride? It's a tough problem. I don't have all the answers, but yes, GitLab team members, I think might, could stand to be an improved word or phrase.
Would a simple change be continue to call all GitLab team members GitLabbers and the broader community, the GitLab community? Or is that still not?
I'll let Sid chime in on that.
Okay.
Yeah, that would work. I think everyone agrees that GitLabbers is the nicer term. And the problem as we grow as a company, in the beginning, if you're smaller as a company, the community is closer to you. The bigger the company gets, the wider community is away. And what you start seeing, the risk is that we start seeing the company as the GitLab community. And that is a big concern. And saying, hey, GitLabbers is everyone in the company. Okay, so people from the wider community, they can't call themselves a GitLabber. I think that's tough. And it's almost like we want to draw attention to the fact, no, GitLabbers means people outside the company too. The company is just part of a community. One thing that a lot of companies do that are in open source, they talk about the community as something being other than themselves. That's why we talk about the wider community. And it's a tough problem. I don't have a solution. I think your solution you just made is very practical. It's maybe the best solution, but it would be so much better if there was a solution that made sure that the best terms are reserved for the entire community and not just the people that work at the company, so that we never forget that it's more than just a company. And I think many people who've joined us come from companies where it is only the company. And how do we instill that GitLab is more than just a company? Michael proposed Tanuki team in the chat. Michael, great idea. I had the same idea. It was my most downvoted merge request. I think 26 downvotes and 0 upvotes. Nobody even felt the need to upvote a proposal by the CEO. So that was a proud moment that everyone felt free to disagree with me. So yeah, it feels a bit funky funny or maybe even funky to do that. I can link you to that merge request, but it's not a bad idea. We've had it before, so it's tough. I don't have a solution. I just have the problem.
Okay. Well, thanks for raising it, Tim, to us, and let us put some heads together, have some suggestions. We can open an issue and keep the discussion going.
And the issue is open. I'll just go ahead and put you, Carol, and Nadia.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Dale, you're up.
Yeah, just maybe tagging on to what was just said there. I mean, we've had some issues with people we term, bring on first as contractors, and then, we convert them as we expand into territories and that. But maybe just from a legal standpoint or you know, is there something we can do to protect ourselves, you know, with contractors if we want to convert them, or how we treat them, so that we treat them equally, but at the same time we don't catch into any disadvantages for them, type of thing. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Sure, I'll start, and I'll let Nadia or anybody else jump in. But you know, what we started doing quite a few months ago is getting ahead of where we are hiring, where we don't have a scalable employment solution, i.e. we don't have a PEO or we don't have an entity, and understanding where we would be hiring in advance so that we could put one of those options in place. And typically it is a PEO, but we do, so that's what we've been trying to do to get ahead of it and make sure that we're being set up for scale. But we do have a number of areas where we're still trying to convert over to those scalable employment solutions. I think we're at about 94%, and looking at, we have a plan for other countries where that isn't in place, but it is definitely something top of mind and one of our, Nadia's and my priorities, to make sure that we are, along with tax and legal and finance, working through it.
Yeah, Dale, and I can just chime in. Igor has been amazing to highlight risks. And so we have such great direction from him on where we need to look at immediately first. And the people operations specialist team, now that there's a team of 4, has been so fast. It's one of the things I highlighted in the slides to get to conversion. So whereas in the past we were maybe converting 1 or 2 countries in a quarter, we can now do multiple countries in a quarter, as long as we don't break other teams in the process or hurt any other teams in the process. So we do look at that as well. But that direction has really been helpful to know where's our biggest risks. Let's go there first. Let's solve those risks, or resolve it both for the individual and for GitLab.
Yeah, I agree, because Igor and I talk weekly, and that's one of the things high on our list, is making sure that we understand the risks from both finance and tax side, because it's near and dear to my heart also, as we go through and get things ready, you know, in case of events in the future, and making sure that we put the proper emphasis and the proper costs in the right entity. So I agree. Thank you.
And Dale, this is Dave. You probably are aware of this, but I think one of our still critical prioritized hires is to bring some assistance to the excellent work that Igor's already doing in international tax. So that'll help to fortify the thinking and resourcing of how we map out markets and come up with solutions to enable us to bring on more team members in more places in a frictionless way.
Yeah, I know. I've been part of that on the legal side of interviewing and that side too. So some great candidates have come forward when we use as consultants. So hopefully, yes, I agree. Thank you.
It looks like the doc may be freezing for some people. So if there's a question you'd like to ask, please just verbalize it, or you can put it in the chat either, and we can move it across. Okay, we'll give it another couple of seconds, and if no other questions, then we can close the meeting. All right, looks like no other questions coming up. So thank you all for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.